I don't normally do this. In fact, this is the first time I'm ever doing this. I'm going to be looking at a port of an arcade game before I show you the original arcade game. This is going to be very interesting for me. So today's episode of Game Attacker, we'll be looking at yet another Intellivision game. And it just so happens to be a port of an arcade game. Meet Super Cobra, a 1981 Konami game where you play as a helicopter and have to go through tunnels. You can shoot fuel tanks and avoid or shoot missiles. By looking at this, you can see it's pretty hard. So, my question is, how does Super Cobra do on a console like the Intellivision? Well, I don't know, but I pray that it's far better than Donkey Kong on the same console. We all know how bad that is. Super Cobra for the Intellivision was released in 1983 by Parker Brothers. Wait a second. Parker Brothers? The Parker Brothers? The guys who brought you Monopoly? What are they doing in this industry? For those who are wondering, Parker Brothers in the 80s were porting arcade titles for consoles like the Intellivision, Atari 2600, Atari 5200, you name it. They ported a lot of games like Frogger, Tutankhamun, and Amador. Yeah, they're all Konami games. But they did do non-Konami titles like Popeye and Q*bert. So that's pretty cool. Just for the record, these are the same people that brought you Popeye on the Magnavox Odyssey 2. Probably the worst port of Popeye. But that's a whole different episode. Let's go back to Super Cobra. After a loud and strident song that obliterated half of my hearing, I'm willing to say that this game looks alright, and it plays good. All in all, it's a decent port of Super Cobra. The game plays like the arcade version, only it's a lot easier than its arcade counterpart. And like the counterpart, you have two ways to destroy the missiles. One is by dropping bombs in the correct timing. Two is by shooting lasers at the missiles. You sometimes have obstacles to avoid by moving higher up in the air or lowering yourself downward, but not so much where you can touch the rocks. Make sure you keep track of your fuel level so you do not by any chance die. Which is where the fuel tanks come to play. But in order to get more fuel, you need to destroy the tanks. Because video game logic, that's why. The control setup goes like this. You have two buttons and a joystick. One button is for your lasers, the other one is for dropping bombs. The joystick is to accelerate, deaccelerate, and moving up and down. The Intellivision version of this game is whatever. There's nothing special about the game, with the exception of being easy, or as I like to call it, playable. It sure does show some detail, and the sprites do resemble what they're supposed to be. Yes, the sound is not good, and yes, it's kind of choppy, so it does have its flaws. But they don't ruin the gameplay, that's for sure. They don't even ruin the controls. Let's go and compare these two games and see which one is good. In my opinion, I prefer the Intellivision version because it's playable, unlike the arcade one. Now don't get me wrong, I do not hate the arcade version. The difficulty is the reason why I prefer the Intellivision port. I can say that they are good games, the arcade version and the Intellivision port. There are other ports of Super Cobra out in the wild, some I haven't come across yet. Will I ever play them? Who knows? Great chance I will, and of course it's going to be in the future. Well anyways, that's all there is for this game. Thanks for watching. Stay cool.